Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Akron Dynasty in part number 2, taking on years, I guess this would be 6 through 10. We're just capping off our best season in program history, the 2007 season, where we would go 12-2, finish off 8-0 in conference, winning the MAC title, and then, of course, losing our bowl game. Jamal Sellers takes home All-American honors after a pretty disappointing season. Gerald White, who was a huge standout in 2006, he doesn't see the ball that much either. Dane Mackey in his senior year, he's been with us since pretty much the beginning here, has himself an 1,100-plus yard season. Jacob Bradford, another high receiving prospect, also has 1,000-plus receiving yards. Stallworth, another early name, finishes his senior year here with just over 500 yards. We have a lot of familiar faces here on the O-line as well. Not the best seasons around. Our center really struggles, as does someone on the left side. Doesn't do that well either. On the defensive side of the ball, Montrell Sawyer, again, another season or another team-leading season in terms of tackles here. Also pretty disruptive in terms of sacks. Really disruptive in the TFL category, leading the team by a very wide margin over Kevin Johnson, our junior free safety, who also had a pretty decent season, just not as well as Montrell Sawyer. And then there's a couple guys tied for 6 sacks here at the top on the defensive line. And then you got to look a little bit lower to find Montrell Sawyer. And then Manny Lowry leads the team in INTs. Matthew Bolden has himself a much better season at kicking than he did last year. Probably could contribute some losses to that. But and now we're going to look at the MAC standings. As I said I was going to do this in the second part. Of course, we beat Northern Illinois to finish 9-0 in conference instead of 8-0. But here's how the rest of the conference stacks up, just so we can maybe, or you yourself can keep track of, I'll write it down, but we will keep track of the year-to-year changes in the MAC conference, even though we do intend to leave and eventually go to the Big Ten whenever that invite does come, if it comes again. So now we're going to get into the off-season festivities, and we're losing a couple juniors who are threatening to leave. I've said in previous series, there's not much of a point in trying to convince the juniors to stay. It takes a ton of points to try and keep them to stay, and most of the time they don't even really want to stay, so I don't even bother trying, especially because this far into our dynasty, we should be able to out-recruit them, or at least get good enough prospects to play in place of them. So Gerald White, a notable name leaving, of course, Dane Mackey, another important name, Stallworth, Corbin White, Peter Griffin as well. We're losing a lot of first-year recruiting guys, a lot of important names. Irvin Brain, who was an All-American, we're losing him this year. He was one of the first major defensive pieces that we had on this team in the first couple seasons. He is now finally leaving us, and so it's going to be almost a completely new look of guys here moving ahead into our next chunk of seasons, our next 5 seasons. So we're going to get into our next recruiting class here. Only 4 blue chips this time around, but that does include a 5-star quarterback and running back, as well as linebacker. We've done pretty well at building the linebacking position at Akron since taking over at the helm, and it looks like we're going to be able to continue that as we add another 4-star as well in that category, even another 4-star quarterback. So I feel like quarterback is another position that needs to continue to get better, even though Hogan has played decently well here. We did kind of miss him in the previous bowl season, dealing with suspected injuries. So, but we're moving to our top classes here, and we finish with the second class. It is by far our highest recruiting class, just period, since taking over. We finished with the 6th best class last year, so we're going to be heading in to our next season with the 2nd best class. Hogan is up to a 93 overall. Matthews is up to an 88. Boyd, the 4-star quarterback, comes in at an 81. Jamal Sellers here up to an 87. By and far the best running back on the team, but we do have another couple solid options behind him. Magruder's an intriguing prospect as well. Brady Allison's going to be our fullback, returning a junior. Jacob Bradford, now the best receiver on the team, with Pete McClellan, a junior, behind him, and then Brandon Mosley, another junior, 3rd on the depth chart. So we have an old receiving class. Dante Cash is going to be the starter at tight end. He's going to be a freshman starter. Tim Robinson's going to return at tackle for his junior year. Mark Shelton returning for his senior season, as well as Carnell Grimes. So a lot of the final seasons here for a lot of our O-line. So we can expect a mass exodus on our offensive line, and then we're going to move around the right tackle position because Floyd Davis, the redshirt junior, is the best option at that position. So on the defensive side, we're going to have Benny Huff here in his sophomore year take over at left end. Ryan Massey is coming back for his senior season on the right side. Tiger Colburn is sophomore starting at defensive tackle here. Michael Lloyd, we might need to move around the linebacking core once again because Montrell Sawyer is on the outside looking in at almost every position here, but we need to mix him in, get him in the mix somehow here. One of our best defensive players of the last few seasons, so we're definitely going to find a spot for him to play, and then Keon Burke is going to start on the right side. Godfrey Medley up to an 8.8 overall, the best DB on the team. We've struggled to kind of surround him with better defensive back prospects, but he is shaped into a fine player. Bullware starting free safety, Jeremy Eaton coming back for his junior year of strong safety, and then Matthew Bolden, of course, still kicking for us, and then we have a freshman punter if the punter really matters to you. So here's a look at our schedule before we get all the way into it for 2008. Again, a rather weak out-of-conference schedule. I did include number 8 Virginia on the road, but outside of that, I've kept things pretty easy and manageable so that we can continue the momentum that we built in our previous season. So, and it seems to have worked, but we did finish 10-2, so still couldn't quite get over the hump, dropping a game to a bad Buffalo team, a 4-8 Buffalo team, before resuming the winning ways before we would lose that game against Virginia, who didn't end up sticking to that top 10 team that we thought they were at the beginning of the year, but still had a very, very decent season. And 7-1 is going to be good enough since we only lost 2 games, one of them being an out-of-conference game. Our 7-1 conference record is going to be good enough to get us another bid to go to the MAC title game, this time playing a 7-5 Bowling Green. So Northern Illinois must have had a pretty big fall off here in the 2008 season, as we've played them the last 2 times, or in the last 2 seasons, in the MAC title game. So we're finally going to be seeing a new team here. This year we get to host. So we will have a home game here in the MAC title game taking on the Bowling Green Falcons. Here's a look at Hogan's season here. He has himself an amazing season at the helm of quarterback. So, and we will get to see him here play in these extracurricular games and try and lead the Zips here to another MAC title. So we have increased the quarter length like every other series on the channel. So there will be a little bit more scoring to speak of. And already we're going to get some scoring on the defensive side, as it is going to be a pick 6 for the Zips defense here. And that's Henderson, not Godfrey Medley. It's Henderson on the other side of him who gets the pick 6 to get things started here in the MAC title game. So on another 3rd down here for Bowling Green, the quarterback's going to step up in the pocket, and he's going to fumble the football deep inside of their own territory. That was a bit late of a fumble here, but the ball was definitely out, and we are going to be able to recover it now inside Bowling Green's territory. So you're going to see this quarterback have himself quite the difficult game here, as we sent a lot of pressure right up the middle with our linebackers, and it paid off pretty well. So on a 1st and goal, Hogan's going to send one to the end zone, and that Bowling Green defender did not seem to know where he was, and it's going to be another Akron Zips touchdown. So things already kind of getting out of control for Bowling Green here, but it's still manageable for the Falcons if they can pick up the pace here a little bit, already down 14. So on another 3rd down for Bowling Green, their quarterback, desperation, man, trying to get anything going, and it is another interception. This time I believe it was the safety who came up with the interception. So that is 3 turnovers in the first quarter alone that Bowling Green has committed. And I don't see things getting a whole lot better for them moving forward. But we are facing a 4th down, already feeling pretty aggressive, up 2 scores. Gary Harry really wants to add more points and put this game away as early as possible. Hogan with a deep shot to the end zone, and it is caught for the touchdown. And so the gamble pays off here, as we're not in really any risk against Bowling Green's offense. Still kind of a risky call here, closer to midfield than we are to the end zone. But Hogan absolutely puts the team on his back here and fires another touchdown pass to the same receiver who caught the first one. So up 21-0 here in the first quarter against Bowling Green. What can their offense do to try and get around us as number 15, their quarterback, fires another one and overshoots the receiver here by about 5 yards, and it is another interception. So there you see, we're already up 21-0, only one first down in this game here, but we were unable to do anything with the football on that turnover. So Bowling Green now within striking distance here past midfield, and their quarterback, it's going to be another interception, but this time it was tipped by their receiver as that ball was passed around here. And yeah, Bowling Green's coach is really not feeling it. Really having himself a tough go at things, and I can understand why. That's very much a frustrating situation to be in. So we're up 21-0 after the first quarter of play here, and we're going to get into a little bit more action here. So we've added a field goal up 24-0 here late in the first half. Hogan here running around in the pocket, scrambling around, and he finds a receiver here. He had a defender trying to make a play on the ball here, just barely got it over his hands, and that one is caught in the end zone for another Akron Zips touchdown. And I'm not sure who it was that we found that time. It could have very well been the running back, and I think it was. We sent Sellers, the running back, into a route here, and he comes down with it. So we're going to fast forward to the end of the game here. We would add on another field goal here and win this one 34-13 over Bowling Green, taking our second straight MAC title. However, last year we would lose our bowl game following a MAC championship win, so we're still looking for the MAC title win and the bowl championship win within the same season. That's something that we've still struggled to do. We do have 2 bowl wins, so we're not looking for a bowl win. We do have 2 bowl victories, but we are still looking to win both within the same year, if at all possible. So with 2 wins in the MAC championship game, we seem to be asserting our dominance here as the champions of the MAC. I think maybe one more might do it for us, but we get another invitation to play in the Motor City Bowl. This time we're going to be playing another MAC opponent in Toledo. So last year we played against Colorado State out of the Mountain West, and this year we're going to be playing another MAC team. So that's going to be, what, our 10th MAC game of the year, I think. So our conference record has the potential to extend to 10-0. that would be absolutely nuts, man. But Toledo had themselves a pretty decent year. But I guess they fell second to us in terms of MAC championship play here. So, but Toledo's going to get started on offense. It's a deep shot fired off into the end zone here, kind of a desperation play under some pressure. The quarterback finds an open man in the end zone, and so Toledo already doing better than Bowling Green did against us. But we are now looking to threatening to score here at the beginning of the second quarter on a third down. Hogan's going to try and run it for himself, and he's going to get into the end zone. So, hey man, we haven't seen a quarterback with wheels so far in this series, but Hogan might just be that guy. If we let him, he might just be that guy. As Hogan steps up in the pocket, tries to find an opening, and takes a big defensive lineman with him into the end zone. So we're going to tie things up here with the Rockets in the Motor City Bowl here in the first half. So on a 2nd and 10 for Toledo, quarterback steps up in the pocket. It's going to be a pick, and that's going to be a pick 6. That's going to be back-to-back pick sixes in these games. That's Ratliff. I believe Ratliff is 3rd on our depth chart in terms of DBs, but he's got his 3rd pick of the season. So on offense now, Toledo struggling with the football, and it's going to be a handoff to Sellers up the middle. He's got some open space, and he's going to get into the end zone for another Akron Zips touchdown. So there's the running game that we were really kind of looking for last season. We saw such a great season from Sellers and really didn't see much of him in the bowl season last year, but here he is. Get out of the way, ref. He runs into the ref. But here he is in the Motor City Bowl making his name heard. So 24-7, fast forward here to the end of the first half over Toledo. Toledo trying to score again before the half is over, and they are going to do it. So the game's not quite over yet here, as Toledo does answer back here and get within 10 points. But we are looking to extend here and kind of put this one out of reach if we can maybe add another touchdown or so here at the end of the first half. So Hogan going to drop back, steps up in the pocket, pump fakes, another deep shot, and I believe it's Broward, I forget which receiver, but he manages to miss the DB as Hogan, again, another very sketchy pass, just pump fakes, and maybe that threw the DB off. Maybe he mistimed it. I'm not sure, but it was the same receiver that Hogan loved to hit in the MAC title game. He is getting involved here in the Motor City Bowl. So 31-14 is your score, and once again, Toledo has to give us the ball back here with just under 20 seconds left to go, and we are able to add even more points as it's another touchdown throw from Hogan. Hogan, man, just absolutely absolutely capping off an amazing season. And, I mean, dude, this is going to be, I mean, obviously no Heisman honors or nothing like that, but an amazing season to be sure, man. So the game is going to be over. Fast forward to the end, we're going to win this one 45-22. And there we have finally the first bowl win and conference win within the same year. We failed to do it last year, getting blown out in this very same venue by Colorado State. But now we are doing the blowing out against another MAC opponent who actually had a decent year, man. They finished 9-3, and now they're going to finish 9-4. And we're going to finish 10-0 in conference play since we pick up 2 conference wins outside of our regular season schedule. So the best season in Zips history by far here. We matched last year's. And Nebraska is going to take home their first national title over the Miami Hurricanes. They lost it back in 2005 to Oklahoma, but they managed to win this time around. Hogan, over 4,000 yards. I don't know about school records. I guess I'll find that out for the third part of this series, but over 32 touchdowns. Now, that's got to be a school record. Jamal Sellers gets 1,000 yards rushing. He got All-American honors last year for 700, but has a better season this year and doesn't. Make it make sense. Jacob Bradford, leading the receiving corps, gets second-team All-American honors, was over 1,300 yards and 10 touchdowns, slightly better than last year, and then Pete McClellan also has a great year as well. Floyd Davis, probably the most productive year on the line here, but Tim Robinson, most efficient. Everyone else here just kind of does their thing. Nothing really too bad, except Carnell Grimes, another pretty bad year at center for him, but he is going to be gone, so we're not going to have to worry. Montreal Sawyer, again, leading the team in tackles. This is why we have to get him involved any way we can, because he just seems to have a tendency to do that. So leading the team in tackles is Keon Burke, who was one of the other linebackers we had to kind of shuffle around here. Leading the team in sacks is Tiger Colburn, our sophomore defensive tackle, getting really disruptive here on the line. And then leading the team in INTs is Jeremy Eaton, the strong safety, who we probably saw get one in these games here. And then Matthew Bolden has a major regression at kicking, has a bad year kicking-wise. So here in the MAC, Toledo ends up finishing second in the MAC. I guess maybe that last game didn't count. Or I was thinking 10-0, but I guess 9-1 was what I was thinking. But 7-1, yeah, I guess it didn't count that bowl game against Toledo. Maybe, did they not count towards conference record? Someone let me know. I figured that would have counted towards our conference record, but I guess not. So 8-1 is how we're going to finish in the MAC. So Central Michigan and Eastern Michigan, once again, having bad years. No shock there, but we're probably going to see the same teams continue to have the bad seasons in the MAC. So moving on, we have 2 more juniors looking to leave. This time it's 2 pretty productive guys, McClellan and Jeremy Eaton. Those are both 2 guys who contributed pretty majorly last season. We're also losing our starting quarterback in Hogan, which is a pretty big loss. Of course, we're losing 3 big starters on the offensive line, and then we're losing our most important linebacking core pieces, man. We're losing Burke and Sawyer. That's absolutely killer to our defense to lose those guys. And then add on top of losing Pete McClellan and Jeremy Eaton, that is going to make this a very, very tough sell for next year. We might see a bit of a regression heading into next season here because we're losing quite a bit production-wise. We're losing an awful lot of talent, but we might be able to recoup some of that here through this recruiting in the second recruiting year of this video, and we absolutely do, man. Look at this loaded class of recruits. We get an outside linebacker, 5-star recruit here. We get a new 5-star quarterback, a 5-star defensive tackle, another 5-star quarterback. We replace Grimes with a 5-star center. We get a 5-star safety, even more outside linebackers, another center as well. So we got options at the positions that we just lost at. We do get a 4-star strong safety to maybe replace Jeremy Eaton, another 4-star quarterback as well. We've just absolutely loaded this class, or 3-star quarterback, excuse me. We have absolutely loaded this class as best as we can, and of course we take home the top recruiting class in the country with 12 5-stars. That is just a handful more than the next closest team, which is Texas. Look at the company we're in: Texas, Miami, USC, Ohio State, Oklahoma. We are probably going to be one of the best teams now in the country. So moving to, we have Matthews going to be a first-year starter at quarterback, Sellers returning, of course, for his junior year at running back, Brady Allison, the senior fullback, is going to be here, Jacob Bradford here in his junior season, the All-American. And then Brandon Mosley is going to be a senior receiver up to an 84. So those guys are going to be 1 and 2. Shane Daniels is going to be our tight end. Tim Robinson coming back for his senior year at tackle, one of the best players on the team, of course. Darren Griffith is going to be a starter at guard here. We're going to have a senior at center. Floyd Davis is going to be starting on the left side here. and then the right tackle situation. Benny Huff also returning as well. Lane Peace, a freshman at defensive end. We're going to move him out here for Bubba Cummins. is going to be back for a junior year. Tiger Colburn, of course, top defensive tackle, no doubt. Patrick Stevens, we're probably going to move out here on the left side since we are kind of loaded at the linebacking position and can move some guys around. And so we're going to need to move him out. I put some freshman starters for some reason, but we're going to move Pete Stevens out here. I'm probably going to put Brian Walters, the sophomore, in that position. Brandon Hurd is going to be started at middle linebacker, and then of course we have to move on the right side as well, since no one seems to want to put the bad guys in place. So Lorenzo Black is going to be the starter on the right side. He's going to be a redshirt freshman. Then Godfrey Medley up to a 90. Now we have some better. Ratliff and Henderson have increased over 80 overall, so they're getting a little bit better here. Bolware, the starting free safety, of course. And then Tyler Whitley, going to be a freshman starter at strong safety. And then, of course, we have our punter and kicking situation. So we're going to move around, of course, with the kick returner as well. So a lot of familiar faces still. We didn't lose too much. We still have a great, from all of our years of recruiting so far, we still have a great team. So we did lose a lot, but we still have a lot of great guys to look forward to on this team. So our out-of-conference schedule here is a little bit easier again this time here. We got Oregon State, Illinois, and Vanderbilt. So playing some power conference guys here, but it doesn't matter here. We finished 12-0 in the country, man. We finished the perfect regular season. We are ranked number 3, probably because of how weak our schedule and our conferences. We didn't get looked on pretty favorably by the computer, so that's why we didn't really get an invitation to BCS. Obviously, if we move to the Big Ten, that'll probably change. But in this season here, a 12-0 season is the best it's going to get us here is a bid to play Toledo in the MAC title. So we're going to get to a rematch against the Rockets here after we beat them last year in the Motor City Bowl. They're probably going to be looking to exact some vengeance on this Zips team, which is now finding the words to describe the true increase in just productivity in this program. It's tough, man. We've completely flipped this thing around. So we're looking to strike early here in 3rd and goals. It's Matthews now starting at quarterback. No more Hogan, of course. And Matthews is going to find his man, and he's going to get a favorable tackle animation and fall forward into the end zone. So we're going to strike first here in the MAC championship game, looking for our 3rd consecutive MAC title in 3 years? So 4th appearance in 4 years, and we're looking for our 3rd title in 3 straight years. So fast forward here, Toledo's added a field goal, but now Matthews running around in the pocket, not a ton of room to move, and he finds Sellers out of the backfield, the running back, who's going to catch one. So he can do it all, man. He can run and he can catch them. So we're going to trust in him to keep doing those things, as Matthews just completely struggling around in that pocket, trying to find some open space, and he does just that, just enough to get a wobbler of a pass out to the running back, and I think it was a linebacker in coverage. It was never going to work, man. Never going to work. So fast forward again here to the end of the first half. We're going to have to take another field goal, and we're going to trust it in Bolden's leg as he is killing some time. This kick is up, and it is good. So we're going to take a 20-3 lead over Toledo here in the MAC title game, and we really have not been threatened in the last few games that we've watched. We have not really been threatened all too harshly, but Toledo now looking to add some points here late in the game. It's going to be a nice little trick reversal here, a little jet sweep to the receiver here, and he's going to get into the end zone. So Toledo now going to cut the lead here to 10 potentially, pending the extra point. Very nice play calling. I don't know why they haven't been doing that all game, but finally they answer back to us, but we're looking to answer to them here late in the game here in the beginning of the 4th quarter. It's going to be a pitch play to Sellers. He's going to take a burst of speed to get around the edge here, picks up a very nice block here on the edge and gets into the end zone. And so 27-10 is going to be your score here in the MAC title game, and that is what's going to hold, is 27-10, as Toledo would fail to score any more points, and we would take home the 2009 MAC title. So it's our 3rd straight MAC championship in as many years, in our 4th appearance in as many years. So we've really kind of cemented ourselves as champions of the MAC, and that's exactly what I wanted to do if we were going to move to the Big Ten. I remember I said, once we got the invitation in the first part, I said that unless we start winning the MAC every single year, I don't think we deserve to move up to a power conference. Now we've won it 3 times. We have the perfect regular season. I think a Big Ten invitation should come our way. So Matthews wins quarterback of the year. So we get the quarterback of the year award. Of course, I don't think we got really any Heisman votes. We might have gotten some, but quarterback of the year, I will happily take that hardware. So and we get a bowl to play in the Sugar Bowl. So we don't get looked on favorably to play in the national title game, but we do get looked on favorably to just play in a New Year's Six Bowl. So we will take it as we have to play Texas now in the Sugar Bowl. And this will really decide if we are still just a lowly Group of 5 team or if we can play with the big boys. So even though Texas has lost 3 games here, presumably one of those being the Big 12 championship, which probably ended their season. I don't think they probably would have had a BCS shot with 2 losses, but they probably did only lose that Big 12 championship to get him to 3 losses. So, and there's Matthews' season. You just saw it flash up on the screen. He's having a great season, very similar to Hogan's last year. The 32 touchdowns, very reminiscent. So, getting further into this game here, we have stopped Texas on defense on a 4th down. They're going to have to settle for a long field goal, and it is good. So, Texas is going to strike first here and put 3 points on the board after a very, very long drive, was able to stall out. So, I'm happy our defense was able to force Texas to take 3 points, and later on in the game, they're going to have to do it again. So another 4th and long situation in scoring range, and Texas is going to have to settle for the points. This time it is good again. So 6-0 is going to be your score. This is still a manageable game here for the Zips if they can get moving on offense. Clearly things have been kind of difficult in that department in the first half here, but with over 7 minutes left to play in the second quarter here now, Matthews is going to hand this one off. Sellers with a spin move in the backfield, finds some open space here, and a burst of speed into the secondary, and no one is going to catch him. He is gone. It is a humongous run here. One of the longest runs of the year, probably, the program, of Sellers' collegiate career, most definitely. But Sellers, man, with a very, very crafty spin move. Look at the spin move. Throws off about 2 or 3 defenders. He was dead to rights in the backfield, just surges past those linebackers, and there's absolutely no one left who's going to catch him. He picks up a bit of a nice block here, I think, from McClellan, and just able to rely on his own feet to get in the end zone. So I love Sellers, man. I'm going to hate to see him graduate. Absolutely. So in our own goal line now, we have stopped Texas or got downed here, and in our own goal line or in our own end zone, we're going to try and get out of the end zone, and we don't do so. So Texas gets a safety and is going to take an 8-7 lead, and now they're going to run a nice big chunk play for themselves here as their running back dead to rights of the line of scrimmage bounces outside and finds some open space on the edge to get into the end zone. Really wasn't even running that fast, but he had the coverage up front and was able to get into open space here to get into the end zone. So after giving up the safety to give up the lead, the 8-7 lead, a very odd Sugar Bowl, Texas is going to score here and add on to their lead here. Presumably it's going to be 15-7, but they would add another field goal. So 18-7 is the score here late in the first half. Matthews is going to throw up a pick here, and this one might just be the nail in our coffin as we couldn't really keep the momentum going. Texas's defense is really just kind of suffocating us right now late in this first half. The game is still manageable, of course, here, but Texas is going to add another field goal here at the end of the first half, which is going to make things really difficult here as 28-7 is now the score here, down a few touchdowns. It's going to be tough to kind of get ourselves back into this game if we can at all. And even now, we still struggling on offense. Texas still with another chance to add more points, and they're going to, man. How many field goals is this? Is that 4 or 5? Their kicker's working double time. I bet Texas in real life wishes they had this kicker at the time. So with 2 seconds left in the first half, 31-7 is the score, and we would add a couple touchdowns. We would add one more touchdown and a field goal, but that would be all she wrote, as Texas's 31 points would hold for their victory. So we would lose the Sugar Bowl in our first New Year's Six bid, unfortunately. So we do manage to win the MAC, but last year is still the only year that we've had so far where we have won the MAC and won our bowl game, as we beat Toledo last year. And so we're going to take a pretty big loss here, and I don't know, it's a pretty big blowout. So I don't know if that means we're a Power 5 team. I don't know, but we do. But they seem to think we're a Power 5 coach. As Texas A&M, after a great season that they've had, finishing ranked in the top 10, they want us to come join them. But of course, our job is here in Akron, so we're going to decline that. And Tennessee's going to take their first national title win over the Hurricanes. I think the Hurricanes have now lost back-to-back national title games. Looking at Timmy Matthews' overall season here, doesn't reach the 4,000-yard mark, but does have a great touchdown-to-INT ratio. Jamal Sellers gets All-American honors yet again here, rushing for over 1,200 yards. An amazing season for him. And Magruder, our backup running back, who was a senior who never saw the field, he ran for over 600 yards. We have 2,000-plus yard receivers, barely getting over that 1,000-yard mark, but both of them have 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns apiece, so very, very much productive on that end. I think I called it McClellan, but it wasn't McClellan. I thought McClellan could graduate, and it was another receiver with a closer name. So looking at the O-line here, pretty decent production from the offensive line here. We did replace some of positively replace some of the guys that we lost. We have a new leader in tackles, of course, with Sawyer gone. It's Brian Walters, the sophomore, who we put in to start. He wasn't even starting. We had to put him in to start. He also leads the team in TFLs by a wide margin, as Tiger Colburn is second. But Tiger Colburn leading the team in sacks, man, I think for the second straight year with 13 sacks. An amazing, amazing number for him. And then INTs, Alex Ratliff, man, the senior cornerback. I think he was third in the depth chart, but he leads the team in INT, so good for him. And then Bolden gets back over the 80% completion for field goals in efficiency, so we did get looked on favorably for kicking. So here's a look at the MAC again. No invitation to the Big Ten, but we do cap off our best season at the helm here, our first 13-win season. That's obviously got to be a school record. After back-to-back 12-2 seasons, we finally managed to get over at least one hump and get to 13 wins. No thanks to the bowl win, but thanks to our regular season play. So not exactly how I envisioned that happening, but that is how it worked out. So we will take it, a 13-1 season, however we can get it. So looking into our off-season schedule now, we're probably going to be losing quite a bit of talent. This is going to be brutal here. And yeah, dude, Timmy Matthews, after his great season, he wants to declare for the draft early. Bradford also wants to declare for the draft early. We're not going to probably be able to keep them here. So Timmy Matthews only gives us one good season starting, and that's probably going to be it. So we're going to lose Magruder, our backup running back, as well. Losing some depth receiving here. Actually, Mosley, our other receiver on the depth chart, is also leaving here. We're losing Ratliff and Henderson and Godfrey Medley. All of our DBs are leaving, man. So our cornerback position is going to have to be completely rebuilt from the ground up, essentially. And it looks like our receiving corps is also going to need the same treatment. So we have plenty of quarterback prospects, so I'm not super worried about replacing Timmy Matthews at quarterback, but it does suck after the year that he had, losing him, because I think we might even be able to finish this thing if he was able to come back for another year. That might be delusional, but I'm going to hype up our own team, okay? Sue me. I'm going to hype up our own team. So looking at our recruits moving forward here, another completely loaded class, starting things off with two five-star quarterbacks. So, again, not worried about Timmy Matthews. We do have one five-star DB, but I'd like to see a little bit more. Unfortunately, it looks like we're going to be losing it. We only get one five-star receiver as well, a third five-star quarterback, another five-star DB, another five-star running back, and we finish off the blue chips with another five-star wide receiver. So we do get two receivers to maybe replace the two that we lost, and then we get to replace Timmy Matthews as well. Again, absolutely loading the class of 15 5-stars, nothing else, and that's going to get us the top class in the country in front of Fresno State. And A&M, who offered us to come coach there, they finished third. So Scotty Kimball, who I think was a 5-star recruit in last year's recruiting class, he's going to be our starting quarterback at 93 overall. Sellers is going to be come back for his senior year, so this is the last year of Sellers. He's the best offensive player on the team by and large. We also have another senior running back at 87 who's probably just going to sit as a backup. Probably not going to get to see him much. Clark White, our fullback here. John Hayes is going to be our senior receiver at 79. So the receiving corps is taking a pretty big dip as we have a freshman behind him and a junior behind him. So Dante Cash is going to be the starting tight end at junior. But we're probably going to flip that around because Shane Daniels, our freshman All-American, man, he had himself a great year last year. So we're going to stick with him at the starter even though we have a better recruit that we brought in, or a better option rather, through training. So Darren Griffith is going to start at left guard. Colin McKenzie going to start at center. Jamil Novak is going to start at left guard here for his senior year as well. And then Jamie Felton is going to start for his senior season on the right side. So Benny Huff back at defensive end senior season. Lane Peace is going to be a sophomore on the right side. We're going to move him around for Bubba Cummings. For his senior season, we're going to start him on the right side. Tiger Colburn, his senior season, is going to be the top guy. And then Eric Jones, the junior, is going to be behind him. Patrick Stevens on the left side is going to be our starting left outside linebacker. And now is the fun part where we mix around our linebackers. Brian Walter starting on the middle side, and then we're going to put Lorenzo Black on the right side again here, get him involved in the defense. Paul Wilkerson, our freshman, is going to be our top DB, replacing Godfrey Medley and all those guys, returning safeties as well. And then we have a new kicker in town. So he's not as good, but we do have a new kicker in town as Bolden is finally gone, and it's the era of Hickman. So maybe Hickman will have a bit more consistent and better years kicking. I would imagine so, or I would hope so rather. So we're going to get into the third season in this video now. Another easy out of conference schedule. We do have Georgia on the schedule, but this Georgia Georgia team is definitely not the Georgia team that you're familiar with in the modern day. So this should be a rather manageable game for us. And we do have another 10-2 season. We last had a 10-2 season in the 2008 season. We finished 10-2 in the regular season, with our only conference loss coming to Miami of Ohio, who finished 7-5. So they might have had an outside shot at the title game. Who knows? But we did lose that game against Georgia after I figured we could win it. We do manage to lose that game against the Georgia Bulldogs. So we do return to the MAC title game for our 5th straight year. Once again playing the Northern Illinois Wolves. They're the Wolves, right? Are they the Wolf Pack? No, they're the Huskies. I'm blanking. See, when you record this long, you start blanking on information that you obviously know, but either way, Northern Illinois has another 11-1 regular season. I think the first time that we played them I think the second time that we played them in the MAC title, they also had an 11-1 season. So Northern Illinois seems to have great just years splursed in. That's how it really was in real life too. If you remember back in like the late 2000s, early 2010s, Northern Illinois would just have great double-digit win seasons and win the MAC and then just kind of fall off. I don't know why. So Sellers was our highlight as we looked at him in the pregame, a little cinematic here, but we're going to get things started off early here in this game, taking a 3-point lead over Northern Illinois with a quick drive to get us into their territory, and we're going to take a 3-0 lead. So Northern Illinois, late in the first quarter, still has a chance here to answer back to us, and it's a quick pass, and they got a receiver going all the way to the end zone as our DBs are not fast enough to catch up to him. And I don't know, I forget the name of this receiver when I was editing, but dude, they have a swagged out receiver. He's got the visor, I think he's got the shoulder or the elbow pads and gloves. I mean, the dude is swagged out. So 7-3, we are trailing here. It's going to be a weird, freaky sack in the backfield. It looked like Kimball might have tried to throw it, but it goes backwards, and it's going to be ruled as a turnover. And there you see we have 3 turnovers in this game. I haven't shown them all, but we've already got 3 turnovers in the MAC championship game. So that's not the type of formula for success here if we look to win. And already Northern Illinois is going to cap off of that turnover here, and they're going to score another touchdown. So we find ourselves in a 14-3 hole, and Northern Illinois looking to score yet again as they're just moving easily on offense. And this time the ball is tipped, and we're going to force Northern Illinois to have to take some points here, assuming that they don't get aggressive and go for it. So they are going to take the points here on 4th and goal. They're going to kick this one through, and it is going to be good. So 17-3 is the score. We are down 14 points, and we are finally looking to maybe answer back and score here on a 2nd and 4 here late in the first half. Just over 2 minutes left to play, and Kimball moving around in the pocket and throws on the run, but it's a pick in the end zone, and Northern Illinois gets themselves another turnover as Kimball has just been turnover prone in this game here. Now that's not something we're totally used to here with quarterbacks. We did see obviously Matthews did throw a pick in the Sugar Bowl, but I mean, nothing like this, man. Just turnover after turnover. Things just seem to be kind of getting away from us here in the MAC championship. But we do have a chance on offense again here late in the first half. Kimball's going to drop back under some pressure, evades it, and rips off a bullet of a pass here, and it's going to get into the end zone for a touchdown as our receivers were able to make something out of nothing here. Just kind of a weird pass. Kimball able to get rid of that one. It was impressive play. I'll give it to him, man. For how he's been playing, evades that linebacker diving for him and is able to find the open receiver. So that's going to be a touchdown. We're finally going to answer back here. So we're still not out of this, man. It's only 10-17. But Northern Illinois, now past midfield, has another opportunity here to add some points. And it's going to be picked. And this one's going the other way. And it's a big linebacker. Let's see if he's got the speed to run all the way back. And he does. So it's a pick 6. So we get some turnover help on our own here. It's Pete Stevens here. He's going to get the huge pick 6 to get us back in this ball game. So we're tied at 17 here. Now late in the game here, 5 minutes left into the game on a 3rd and goal. Kimball fires to the end zone, and he cannot connect with the receiver. And so now we're probably going to have to take or settle here for another 3 points to take the lead. And the kick is up, and it is good as Hicks nails this one through. So 20-17 is now your score as we eat a lot of time off of the clock here on a pretty long, extensive drive. And so we're going to have to try and really strengthen on defense as we do. So Northern Illinois has to give us back the ball here. And on 3rd and 12, we're trying to get into the end zone again. Kimball, clean pocket, steps up in it and fires one to the end zone. And that one is nearly intercepted again. And there you see the passing breakdown. And as Kimball's really struggled in this game. And the lights might just be a bit too bright for our first-year starter, as Hicks nails home another field goal. But still, man, it's only a 6-point lead. Northern Illinois could score a touchdown this next drive, and take the lead away from us. But they're going to have to punt the ball back, as Northern Illinois' offense is also struggling about as much as ours is. But we can at least finish with some points. And now we're going to hand off to Sellers here to see if we can get something working here. And he does pick up the first down. And that's going to be just about probably it, as we can ice the game from that point on and take the rest of Northern Illinois' timeouts, as they've been unable to do much of anything on offense here in the second half. So it's a bit of a scrappy one here. I thought it might have been a little bit more back and forth Northern Illinois, but they really just couldn't do much of anything once they reached that 17-point mark. And a lot of that was thanks to the turnovers that we had. So kind of shooting ourselves in the foot, man. If we take that into bowl season, I'm not super confident in our ability to win our bowl game if that's how we're going to play it with Kimball at the helm. So kind of sketchy here moving forward. Might need to think about how we're going to start, because we do have quarterbacks behind Kimball who definitely could probably mitigate those mistakes and those disasters. But we do win the MAC title here for the fourth straight year. See, I'm already losing track. It's our fifth straight year, fourth straight title. And we're going to get a bid to play in the Motor City Bowl once again against Miami of Ohio, the one team in the MAC who did manage to beat us in the regular season. So of those 7 wins here, we are one of them for Miami of Ohio. Of course, we stack up way better than them. We have the second best defense in the country. We have the best running defense. We have the fourth best passing offense. I mean, we are just putting up actual nationwide numbers. So even though we don't look at being just a MAC team, right, 19th in the country, we are one of the best teams in the country. Don't get it twisted, man. In terms of yardage and stats, we are one of the best teams. So, but one of those best teams is about to give up some points here to Miami of Ohio as a running back, trying to find some open space, and he cannot seem to do so. So we do manage to keep Miami of Ohio out of the end zone, and now we're gonna force them to take an early field goal. It's a chip shot, and it is good. So Miami of Ohio does strike first here, even if it is only 3 points. So on 1st and 10 here, we're gonna hand it off to Sellers. Sellers finds some open space, and you know what happens when he gets an open space? Picks up a humongous block, and he's got open space. No one's gonna catch him, man. 10-5 touchdown. Sellers, another huge long run in a bowl game, man. He is just prone to do this kind of thing. Oh, man, I'm going to hate not being able to watch this guy play for us any longer, man. Get this guy in the draft. He needs to be playing on Sundays. He needs to be running for your favorite team. Yes, you watching this video, that is your future running back. Jamal Sellers, put him on your team. An amazing touchdown, and we're going to take the lead 7-3 here. So now in the second quarter, Kimball running for his life here and gets the screen pass off, and it's Sellers again in open space, and he's got plenty of room and no one in front of him. 20, 15, 10, 5. He's going to high step to the end zone, and it's a touchdown again for Sellers, this time a receiving touchdown. And we've seen him do the big run. We haven't seen him do the big catch and run, and here it is. Kimball, shout out to Kimball for getting that pass off, man. He was completely dead to rights with 2 big defensive players in his face. He manages to get the ball off to Sellers, and Sellers makes a lot happen with not a lot of room to work. So 14-3 is your score here. Miami of Ohio struggling on offense again. We're going to hand this one off to Sellers because it's his last game as a Zip, so we might as well just keep on feeding him. And he's the entire offense right now as he gets the 3rd touchdown of the game here. 21-3 is your score against Miami of Ohio. And then we're going to hand off to Sellers again, and no, don't tell me. Do not tell me. No, sir. No, it's not like this. Don't do it to him. They didn't ask for this, man. And Sellers took that loss earlier in the season personally, as he is having an absolute statement game in the Motor City Bowl against these Redhawks, man. Look at this. Just open space. Talk to the hand, sir. Talk to the hand. And once again, it's that number 3 DB trying to chase down Sellers. How does the back of his jersey look, sir? You must be quite familiar with it. As Sellers gets into the end zone for his 4th touchdown. And now finally we're going to add some points in this game, not off the back of Sellers here, so we're going to have to settle for a field goal and take a 31-3 lead over Miami of Ohio in the Motor City Bowl. We own the Motor City Bowl, baby. After that loss to Colorado State, we're not losing again in this bowl game. You hear me? And so we manage to add another touchdown here, 38-3. I'm not sure if it was Sellers. I really don't know. But we do manage to win the Motor City Bowl and have another 12-2 season. So unfortunately here, we couldn't get back to that 13-win mark here, or maybe cap it off what we're trying to do, which is, I don't know, win the title. I don't know if we can do it from the MAC with the way that the league is set up right now. But if we move, we might be able to get her done. So Sellers has himself an MVP game, a Heisman caliber game to get us another bowl victory in the annals of Akron history. So it's what, our third Motor City Bowl victory? I think so. But we finally get the invitation that we've been looking for. The Big Ten wants us as a part of their conference. Unfortunately, we're going to be replacing Michigan State in the Big Ten. So we're going to be separating the Michigan schools, as Michigan State is going to replace us in the MAC. And Ohio State finally wins their first national championship, and they beat Miami. So Miami, for the third straight year, cannot seem to get over the hump as they keep losing the national title game. Scotty Kimball here. Look at the 27 interceptions. Oh my God, 27 interceptions. Oh my goodness. Yeah, dude, turnover prone 100%. Jamal Sellers, 1,300 yards here, 16 touchdowns. I think he did get Heisman votes, actually. I edited it out, the Heisman, but I think he did get Heisman votes. If I'm not mistaken, I think he got a few Heisman votes. I think he was like third or fourth. John Haynes gets All-American honors here, being a 1,200-yard receiver with 10 touchdowns in his senior year. And Nolan Smith, freshman receiver, man, 1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns, man. We might be all right. The kids are all right, okay? The kids are all right moving forward. So, and Jamal Felton has a great senior season. Good for him. Darren Griffith, about the same season. Not much else to write home about on our offensive line, of course, either. So, unfortunate. We're not getting a ton of production from our O-line, what it seems. So, Brian Walters, once again, another disruptive season on defense. 101 tackles, 9 sacks with 22 TFLs. I think he had 22 last year. Am I mistaken? I think he had 22 last year. Absolutely nuts, man. And yeah, 13 sacks goes to Eric Jones, a defensive tackle. That dude was disruptive. All over the field disruptive. Getting first-team All-American honors as well. We have quite a few All-Americans on this team. And Bubba Cummins in his senior season, 11 sacks himself with 14 TFLs. We had a lot of very disruptive defensive players, man. We actually had a pretty decent defense. So that running defense was not no Mickey Mouse stuff, bro. We really had the best run defense. We had a D-line that was absolutely sinister, absolutely foul. So looking over the Big Ten, because it automatically puts us in the Big Ten, even though we are still MAC champions for the year. Ohio State and Michigan sandwiching us here in their great seasons. And then after that, it's a humongous fall-off, man. It drops all the way down to a 6-win season here for Iowa. And you have Purdue, who had a 7-win season here, but all the conference play, man, it was just absolute cannibalism in the Big Ten this season. So maybe we will, hopefully we'll fare a little bit better than I hope. But yeah, so after Eric Jones' amazing season, he wants out of here. Walters wants out of here after his amazing season too. So this seems to be the trend, man. Our juniors having great years and just wanting out of here. I don't know what Dudley did exactly to want to get out of here early, but whatever. For him, he can leave if he wants to. No one really wants to stay at Akron, even though we just moved up to the Big Ten. They're all out. So we lose our top 2 running backs in Sellers and Ratliff. Ratliff never really saw the field, but he was a really good running back. We're losing him. White, who I think was our starting fullback for many years, I think, for the last like 4 or 5 years. We're also losing one of our top receivers as well. Bubba Cummings is gone. Tiger Colburn is gone. Some notable defensive names. So each year, man, we get attached with these starters, and we're going to be losing them. So we're going to have to. We're not going to rebuild, man. We're going to reload. That's what we got to do. We can't rebuild. We have to reload. So, and this is the kind of class that's a reloading class, baby. So we need a new defensive tackle, new 5-star receiver, new 5-star cornerback, new 5-star quarterback, which might be an option here with the 27 picks, 28 touchdowns. It's like a collegiate Jameis Winston, dude. That's absolutely nuts. So we kind of spread out the 5-stars amongst all the fielders, defensive end, linebacker, safety, receiver. We're not really focused on one specific position, even though we have some that we really need help with. We get a ton of 4-star running backs, so we're going to be loaded at the running back position. They just kept throwing running backs at me. So we lose out on Sellers here, but we might find our own new Sellers. I hate to even say that he could be replaceable, but with this many running backs, it is entirely possible. So for the 3rd straight year, we have the top recruiting class here with 12 5-stars and 8 4-stars, man. Continue to reload, man. Again, no rebuilding, just reloading. And Miami, Ohio State, the defending national champs, are 3rd, and Miami, the runner-up, are 2nd. So we are in good company. I like that. So Kimball is going to be the starter. Again, he's a 96 overall. I can't afford to not start him, even though last year the proof is kind of in the pudding that maybe he can't start full term. Maybe it's not the best option. And as you can see, I am looking over the options here. Maybe one of these other quarterbacks can do something. Pryor's been here for a few years, and it doesn't look like he'll start as a 91 overall. That's sad. So Anthony Blunt's going to be our starting running back moving forward. Justin Hill's going to start at fullback as a sophomore. Vince Foster, come back for his senior year. Mike Dennison, also a senior. And Nolan Smith is going to be third in the depth chart, man, as a freshman All-American. So he gets bumped all the way down to third. Dante Cash is going to be here for his senior year at tight end. Al West is our starting right tackle in his sophomore year. Darren Griffith back for his senior year as a 99 overall. I think he's our first 99 overall player. Colin McKenzie, junior center, is coming back. And then Daryl Farrell, junior right guard. And then at right tackle, we're going to have Brad Hatch in his senior year. So we're going to be losing a few offensive line pieces once again. Lane Peace back for his junior year on the left side. Brandon Kelly here starting defensive tackle with Martin Blackman, a couple freshmen behind in the defensive tackle position. Patrick Stevens up to a 99 overall here, a junior. Lorenzo Black here, an 88 overall in the middle linebacker position as a junior. And then we're probably going to move Carlos Cobb, the sophomore, on the right side. He's going to start over Siegel here in the linebacking core. So we're a linebacker university, I think. So Wilkerson up to an 87. We've got some newer faces here on DB behind him. Trey Howard's going to start at free safety. Tyler Whitley back for his senior year at strong safety. So, yeah, dude, I think we've built a great defense. Our linebacking core stayed sick the entire time. Reggie Parham is going to be in his senior year as a punter. We don't pay attention to it, but that's the punting situation. He's been here for a lot of years, for most of this dynasty. I just keep seeing his name pop up. So we're going to put Nolan Smith at returner because he's the fastest guy on the team. In our first year in the Big Ten, I decided to load up our out-of-conference schedule with MAC teams to try and preserve some rivalries and, of course, just kind of keep the schedule familiar with us. And it does work out a little bit in our favor because we finished 10-2 in our first season in Big Ten play, finishing 6-2 in conference. Obviously, there's no championship game anymore, so we just straight up don't win the conference. So we do lose to Indiana here, who didn't have that great of a season, man. Losing to losing teams like that, it's not great. I hate doing that. So, but we do pick up big wins against Wisconsin, but we do lose to Penn State barely at the last game of the season here, which probably screwed up any chance we had at a Big Ten title. So we're going to get right into bowl play because we don't have a conference championship anymore, and we're going to get a bid to play in the Alamo Bowl against Kansas State. Kansas State, who won the very first national title in this entire dynasty sin that we're doing. They haven't really been much of anything, I don't think, since, but 8-4 is a decent season here. Coming out of the Big 12, they probably didn't even get to play for the Big 12 championship, but they are still a decent team. And the last time we were in a stage of this size, it was against Texas in the Big 12, and they had our number. So this is our first bowl appearance as a Power 5 team. Let's see if we can live up to that expectation as a Power 5 team and win a bowl game. So Kimball minimizes the interceptions here down to 6 here. That's about 21 less than he threw last year, but the touchdown numbers are about the same too. So a decent season for Kimball. He does make good use of his second year as a starter, and our defense already forcing Kansas State to take some points, and they manage to do just that. So 3-0 is going to be the score here. And 22 yards in 7 plays probably just caps off a turnover that they got. So now we have a shot here on 3rd and 10, trying to get inside the red zone, or we are just inside the red zone. Looks like we're at about the 19, I think. And Kimball's going to fire one to the end zone, just overshoots the receiver by a little bit here. Maybe got his fingertips on it, not quite. So we're going to send out Hicks here to try and knock home a 4th and 10 field goal here. A bit of a longer one, and he cannot get it. So that one fares just far left a little bit as we come up empty on this drive. But Kansas State struggling on offense, so we have another opportunity here. We're going to hand it off to, I believe, Blunt, the running back, and he cannot get anywhere on 3rd and 7. So it looks like we're going to be just settling for points again, man. So another drive that kind of falls short here. Going to send out the kicking unit once again to see if we can nail this one through, and this time it is no good again. So in a dome here, man, we don't even have the elements to worry about, and we cannot get any help from special teams. So offense is really just struggling here, failing to get points here. Now Kansas State, you give them enough time, they're finally going to answer back here. The quarterback steps up in the pocket and throws it into a whole mess of traffic, and somehow Kansas State receiver comes down with it. And so Kansas State looking to take a 10-point lead. Yeah, I have no idea how he caught this. Look at this, dude. There's like 4 guys over there. How do none of you get a hand on the football? Come on. How did none of you get a hand on it? So Lorenzo Black with the tackle, but doesn't matter, it's a touchdown. So we're going to hand this one off now to lead the fullback, and he's going to find some open space and follow some blocks and get into the end zone. So no Sellers, no problem. No, it's very clearly a problem that we don't have Sellers on the team anymore, but we're doing our best with what we have, I guess. Man, I'm not depressed. I'm okay. We'll be fine. We still have a chance at this game, all right? It's 10-7 here. Late in the game, though, but Kansas State could potentially put a nail in the coffin. There's still plenty of time, but it'd be hard to come back from from 2 scores, and pressure gets to the quarterback. It is a screenplay, though, and we are able to snuff out that screenplay as Kansas State's quarterback was taking way too long to make a decision. He was supposed to get rid of that football quick, and he was struggling to do so. So Kansas State going to try and tack on another field goal to extend the lead to 6, and they do just that. So we have really subdued Kansas State's offense, but our offense has really failed to get going here in the Alamo Bowl. Not something we typically struggle with. So on a 3rd and 6 here, this could potentially be the go-ahead score if we can cap it off. Kimball throws to the end zone, and that ball is batted down in the end zone, so we are unable to score or get the touchdown that we need. But we are going to keep the offense on the field here because just 2.5 minutes left. We're going for the win here, baby. We need to beat Kansas State in this bowl game. Kimball drops back all day to throw, plenty of time, fires to the end zone again, and this time it's in and out of the hands of our receiver. He had it, and he dropped it on the way down to the ground, and so we come up empty here, turnover on downs in our own end, or in Kansas State's end. But Kansas State could not do anything with the football, so they had to give it back. On a 3rd and 14, Kimball, desperation, and it is picked off as he throws a dangerous pass, and that's going to be the 4th turnover in this game. And as much as you could blame the turnover differential for losing the Alamo Bowl, I mean, we had plenty of opportunities and just could not finish. So, again, the case against Kimball as a starter continues to mount as 2 bowl games really kind of get away. Or not the bowl games here, but the MAC title game from last year, and then of course this year's Alamo Bowl, really kind of painting a bit of a nasty picture against Kimball as he's really kind of struggled to minimize the turnovers and the issues, and really kind of struggled to keep things manageable. So Miami finally does get over the hump here and wins their first national title here. I think it's their 4th straight year going, 4th or 5th straight year, and they beat Southern Miss, oddly enough, which is weird. I know the footage gets a little glitchy here for a second. I don't know why. It must have been with the processing of the footage on my computer, but it does get better. It does smooth out. Trust me. Just bear with it for a second here. So Kimball has a pretty similar season here. Decent. Look at the running, man. Oh, Sellers, where are you? Sellers, we need you. Oh, we split time between 2 running backs and get about 900 yards, close to 1,000 yards of rushing, but still, man, just a far cry. We don't even get the numbers we're looking for in the receiving core. Is we don't have a receiver with 1,000 yards. Nolan Cash doesn't even get over 700 yards. It's bad, man. It's a really aggressive year for the offense, and we saw that really kind of personified in the Alamo Bowl as we struggled to really get things moving on offense. So not much to write home about. Carlos Cobb as a starter leads the team in tackles. He has himself 91 tackles with 10 TFLs, which is good. Patrick Stevens still leading the team in TFLs with 12, but it's a very close race, of course. And then in sacks, that number's going to go to Brandon Kelly, the defensive tackle, the junior defensive tackle. So he has himself a pretty good year stepping up. And then Victor Kraft, I think the second DB on the roster here. And then Cobb and Wilkerson, the top DB, all have 4. And then Hickman gets All-American honors. So Hickman, 87%, that's pretty good for him. So in the Big Ten, Wisconsin takes it, who we did beat. We are their 1 loss, but we couldn't maintain our own season, so we don't get anywhere close to the Big Ten play here. Michigan does well in conference, but does lose as well. Ohio State, the defending champs, finished 8-5. Bad year for them. And the Northwestern backing up the caboose. So I'm not sure if we'll play Northern Illinois that much anymore, but our players leaving, dude, our class leaving is very, very small. So with that in mind, we should have our horses in the stable here. As many horses as we've had so far in terms of rebuilding and reloading for the next season. I don't think we've had this many players coming back to us. So it's kind of a luck year. So if we don't get to the national championship in this season, man, I don't know if we'll have a really good opportunity to do it again, man. I mean, this is a prime opportunity. We don't slam recruiting out of the park since we really didn't need to. We still have everyone pretty much loaded at most positions, but we did get a new 5-star quarterback and strong safety, as well as a new 5-star receiver. So there's a couple positions on the team that can stand to get better all the time, and receiver is definitely one of them. Quarterback, we don't really need to get better at quarterback. We have a lot of great quarterbacks, but because of our low profile year in recruiting, we drop all the way down to 16 after having the top recruiting class, I think, for 3 straight seasons. But Ohio State very close to us as well. Kimball is up to a 99 overall quarterback. Now you guys see why I don't replace him, because he's a 99. Like, he's got to be the best quarterback statistically on the team. But Boyd and Pryor at 96 are definitely very, very enticing guys here. So Pryor might be the starter next season because he is only a junior, but our backup behind Kimball is a senior as well. So it's going to be kind of make or break. So Vince Foster up to 87 and Deshaun Cooley up to 86. So we finally have a really good receiving core that I'm happy about. So yeah, dude, this is the best team that we have to have moving forward. If we don't manage to figure this out, man, I don't know what's going to happen. Shane Daniels, senior, tight end. Al West of his junior year. Darryl Farrell, senior guard on the left side, is going to start. Colin McKenzie for his senior year, center, 94 overall. Jason Rivera going to start on the left or on the right side, and then Brad Hatch Jr. going to start on that right side. Jay McGee on the right end. Lane Peace, senior on the left end. Brandon Kelly up to a 97, starting defensive tackle with some good depth behind him. Patrick Stevens, a 99 overall linebacker, beating out Irvin Brandt and Montreal Sawyer. Those names, linebacker university, baby. And we're going to put Carlos Cobb back in the mix because he was one of our better defensive players as well last season. He's going to start, and then Paul Wilkerson is going to lead things off on for our DBs. Trey Howard's going to start again at free safety, and then Andre Carlisle is going to start at strong safety with Philip Hickman, our kicker, of course. And we have a new freshman, man, Mike Mayo. What a name! The Sims coming up with some crazy names. I mean, just crazy names. Darryl Farrell. I mean, well, come on, what are we doing? Godfrey Medley. I mean, just crazy names. So we're going to mix around the kick returning position here. I don't know why I included this. I edited it out in the first part, left it in this one. Oh, well, you know who's returning our kicks. Nolan Smith is for the second straight year. So coming into the season ranked number 9 here. Once again, we're playing another out-of-conference MAC schedule against Buffalo, UCF, Kent State. And we do manage to finish the season, and we get a bid to play in the Capital One Bowl. So I didn't show the full season schedule. We do finish 11-1. I don't know why I didn't show. I must have just forgot to record it, but we'll go back and get into it, or maybe we'll see it at the end of this video, hopefully. I don't know why I did it. Once you start recording these back to back to back, you just start to lose sight of it, I guess. I don't know. Just shame on me. Really, honestly, just shame on me. So we get to finally represent the Big Ten here in the Capital One Bowl. This is kind of the granddaddy of all for the Big Ten outside of the Rose Bowl. So Kimball has himself another good season, man. Only 6 interceptions. That first season as a starter really seems so far away from us now with the over almost 30 interceptions that he had. So, but we're playing against a good Florida Gators team here. And on third down here, we get finally some pressure on the quarterback, and it's a humongous sack, man. One of the many guys on our defensive line that are just so disruptive and productive on that line, man. You can't run on us, and you can't protect your quarterback for long. So Florida State going to go for the kick here. Florida State? What is wrong with me? See, like I said, I get delusional. I'm getting delusional. But the kick is good, and Florida's going to take a 3-0 lead here. Our offense still struggling here. Is now Florida looking to strike again. Pressure is coming onto the quarterback again, and he finds a receiver in the corner of the end zone. Somehow keeps both feet in bounds, or 1 foot in bounds for the touchdown. I think we could probably review that, but there is no review. So Florida's just going to get that one. So 10-0 is the deficit we find ourselves in, and now we need to get something working here on offense as we are looking to strike here. Kimball steps up in the pocket, and he finds Foster, I believe, the receiver, who catches that one, and it is a touchdown. So Akron finally going to answer back here. We are going to answer back to the Florida Gators, and on another third down here, with just 10 seconds left, we have an opportunity to get even more points. Late in the first half, Kimball it tries to evade some pressure, and it's intercepted in perfect running lane. There was no one in that area. Get out of the way, ref. And Florida's going to take this one all the way back as time expires, man. It's a pick 6 to end the half, and there you see the turnover differential again, man. Just turnover prone in these games, man. I don't know why that is. I just don't know where that's coming from. I mean, I guess Kimball, you guys are probably screaming at the screen, it's Kimball. Why are you starting Kimball? Because, man, he's the best guy on the roster. I got to give it to the BPA, man. Got to give it to him. But 17-7 is now the score here in the Capital One Bowl, and we need to dig ourselves out of this hole quite a bit. It's going to be a handoff to Blunt, and here we go. Here's some Sellers-type magic, baby, as Blunt's getting into open space, and he's got it's a foot race here with the safety, and the safety's got no shot, baby, as we're going to get into the end zone. So this feels like forever since we've seen a huge run play from our running back in this game. But or in a bowl game, but it just gives me flashbacks to that Motor City Bowl. Jamal Sellers' last game, baby. Oh, I can just see him now. I believe it. But Blunt, man, a great run for him. We haven't seen too much of that. Hopefully he has himself a better season than he did last year. But with runs like that, I can imagine he did. So now we are back within 3 points of the Florida Gators here, but on 3rd and 12. We have a chance here to force them to give the ball back here. But not when you do stuff like that. Not when you do stuff like that. When you give up big plays like that. So on a 3rd and very long, 3 guys all in protection here, all surrounding this receiver. Somehow none of them can make a play on the football, and Florida adds to their lead here. 24-14 is your score. And then once again, that deficit just continues to grow. So We have a goal-to-go situation here. We have it down on Florida's 1. If we could just punch this one into the end zone, we'd be in good shape again. And we give it to Blunt, untouched, runs right in. His second touchdown of the game. So, looks like we can finally rely on the running back to keep us productive in these games again. I've been losing that. Relying totally on Kimball has really shot us in the back here. So, on second and goal here, we have another opportunity to score and take a lead even. We're going to hand this one off to the fullback, and he's going to get in. And we have now taken the lead, ladies and germs, in the Capital One Bowl. We might finally be able to stick it with some of these other power conference teams as we take our first lead in this Capital One Bowl. We're finally looking for that first bowl win against these power conference teams. So on 3rd and 10, we have a chance to kind of seal this one away from Florida, and it's picked off, and we have it in the end zone. So it's going to be a touchback here. We're going to be starting this off at the 20 here. 1:10. All we have to do now is just run the clock out, man. We just have to hand the ball off a couple times, burn Florida's timeouts as Florida completely fails in desperation trying to get into the end zone, and we can take this 28-24 lead with us. We're going to hand it off to try and burn some time, and it's going to be a fumble from the fullback. Our fullback's going to fumble the football. Oh, no. What happened? What happened? Florida now with a prime opportunity in our own end with a full minute left to work. Our defense has forced a 3rd and long here. Now the quarterback's going to drop back. Pressure is on. It doesn't get home, and the ball is tipped, and it's no good. So our defense stands up firm again here. It's 4th and 9. In the Capital One Bowl, down to presumably the last play of the game here. 51 seconds left to go. They need a touchdown. They have to get it in the end zone. Just play good defense. Number 19 fires it to the end zone, and triple coverage again. Somehow a receiver gets it. I have no idea how. Someone explain it to me. EA, explain to me how. In triple coverage, does a receiver catch it? Oh, God, I'm tweaking. I'm losing my mind. I'm tweaking. How on earth? Look at that, bro. All these people, all these 5-star recruits, all this talent, and it does nothing because we just lose it. So 38 seconds left to go. Our last shot on offense, man, on a 2nd and 10. All we could do, Kimball, we need something from you. Anything, Kimball. And it's picked off again. No, Kimball. Why? Why is Kimball doing this? And Vince Foster's injured on the play. When it rains, it pours, man. Things are just falling apart as the Zips completely choke this game away in the Capital One Bowl. And Gary Harry, how are you going to explain this one to the fans that you can't get over the hump? You can't win the big one. How? How are we going to explain this? So we take our second loss on the year to Florida, and that's essentially going to end part number 2 of this video. Oh, my God. All right, we have to collect ourselves. So for year number 3, we have to collect ourselves. For year number 3, we are going to get over this hump here. We don't have to worry about Kimball anymore. He's gone. We don't have to worry about it. Maybe end of an era? Sure, perhaps. Worst starter in Akron history? Maybe. In the Gary Harry era? Probably. But it's okay because we do get a new contract extension, a 7-year extension. We didn't win the conference. We didn't win the national title, but Akron still wants us to hang around for a while. 80-16 over our last contract, so absolutely we are going to be staying here and continuing this dynasty. So I hope to see you guys in that 3rd episode when we finally do continue the next 5 years of the Akron dynasty. Thank you so much for watching, and bye.